So I had my first college tournament. That was fun. Well, I wouldn't really a college tournament, but it was a college level tournament. Um, on the jury fishing team, we're having these like qualifying deals to where it's your it's like four tournaments. I think there's four tournaments, and weight added up all those like AOY style, and the top like four teams go on and they get to fish like the entirety of spring for free. Which that sounds exciting, right? Sounds exciting. But so there's been two so far. And I'll tell you about the first one. Well, I got footage of that one. Um, it was really fun. My it was awesome. I hadn't got the experience of putting in with everybody. So I put in, had someone put me in. So I'm fishing solo, and so got me put in, pulled up to the ramp, parked the truck, and I don't know about you guys know about a gambler, but you're in it right, cockpit, sit really low, pretty much like this, and there's a little gear shifter right here on mine. Click a button, go forward, click the button, go backwards. I clicked the button to go forward, and the button wouldn't even click. It was like frozen solid, and I was stressing, dude. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if my boat was broken. I was so scared. And this is my first like college tournament. Like this, like if I win these or do really good in these, I can go into like nationals for free. And I was like, come on, dude. I was like, please, 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 please. Poured water in it, poured hot chocolate in it, poured like, it's and I was like, dude, what do I do? And one of my buddies was like, I have no idea. So I called my dad and I was like, what the heck do I do? He's like, wait it out. So I fished like an hour. It was like an hour and a half, which turned out to be like the best time of the day. Fished like an hour just by the ramp on my trolling motor. And I called my dad again and I was like, Dad, gotta do something. Gotta do something. So he was like, just like move it back and forth a lot. Be gentle with it. Don't break the cables, but just move it back and forth a lot. And one of those times I was going like, and move forward a little bit. And I went, and I was in gear. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, here we go. And there was a team that forgot their boat keys, and him and I were like leapfrogging each other like the whole time down this bank. And I waved to him because his teammate was going back to Springfield from Table Rock to get the boat keys. And he was on the trolling motor. I waved to him, and I was off. I was on like 76 down that lake in the cold, and I had my motorcycle helmet on. You know the thing. I was like, it was so awesome. So I get to my first spot, and I get to my first spot. I'm like, okay, let's do this. Pull up on it was a spot I've caught fish on before, but I didn't really have like that much confidence. It was just like the first pretty okay spot I saw, and pull up on it. First like 6 casts, 3-pounder. And I was like, that's nice, and I didn't have a net, so I was like Bassmaster Elite's doing it. You know what I mean? So that was cool. And about 10 casts after that, 4-pounder, and I'm like, okay, hard to argue with this. Whip around to a different spot, fish that out, and whip around to a different spot, and it was way too shallow. Shouldn't have fished it, but I pulled a keeper off of it. Keeper like a little bitty smallmouth. I ended up calling. I put that in the box. Fished the rest of that out. Lost a rock crawler, which really sucked. Tied on a new rock crawler. Fished a little bit more. Lose one, like in like inches of water. But it was like at the end of my cast, so it was like really. It would have been really hard to like fight that fish and let alone get like good hooks. It doesn't matter. Lost a fish, right? Go around this point, and I'm like, there's got to be a fish on this. Second cast, after I said that, hook into one, throws it. I was like, this sucks. This really, really sucks. Keep fishing that corner. Get my fourth fish. I'm like, okay, new spot. Run around, nothing. Run around. No, I did not catch my fourth fish back there. Lost 2, had 3 in the box. So I run around, pull up. I'm like, okay, this is one of my good spots. Like, there should be fish right here with these conditions. About 10 casts in, get a 3-pounder. I'm like, okay, that's nice. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay. So get that 3-pounder in. And it had a whole school of 3-pounders with it. Like, every fish that day had like a bunch of fish with it. I'm like, okay, sweet. That's awesome. She's my fourth now. So I'm like, okay, let's hit the spot. Like, the spot. So I hit the spot. Don't catch anything for a while. Get to the best part. And I'm in like 3 foot of water. Right? I'm like in 3 foot of water. Casting in like a foot. Throwing my rock crawler from like a foot to like 3 foot. Like, I'm shallow. So I'm fishing it, burning it, pausing it, burning it. And I see this like green blob under the water, like 10, 20 yards ahead of me, and I'm like, that can't be moss. There's like no moss. I'm like, no way, that's a bass. So I get up, I'm trying to cast at it. It's not, doesn't care, whatever it is. And I get up to it, and it's like a 4-pounder, just hanging out. And I'm like, what? I'm like, what? Dude, you're not scared of the boat? You're not eating my rock crawler? Like, what are you doing? And eventually he started using my boat as cover. You know what I mean? You know how they do that when they're fighting? He's like, was hanging out under my boat. Okay. Hey, you have fun with that, bud. But I still had 4 fish, so I really liked to catch that fish. And I'm like, okay, this fish is up here, this big fish. There should be other big fish on this bank up here. Oh, and Table Rock's like really low, right, during this tournament. I think it's still really freaking low, like below winter power pool. So, most of my winter stuff is literally like out of the water. Like, stuff this is a really shallow bank, and you fish it really shallow, right? And like most of the stuff I'm usually hitting is just out of the water. So I'm like, okay, just keep fishing. So make about 15, 10 casts. And I make like 10, 15 casts. And I hook into a rock, and I'm like, okay. But you keep pressure on it. And it turned out not to be a rock. And it was like a 6-pound smallmouth. No joke, like a 6-pound smallmouth. I hook into it, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, this is it. Oh, I was fishing right-handed reel at this point, because my left-handed died. I'm like, okay, this is it, right? And I get it up, and then it just goes past the boat. And I was like, so I'm like, I get on the trolling motor, because, it's going. Get on the trolling motor, I'm like, oh crap. So I go up to it, and it stops. So we're like in 3 foot on a really freaking shallow bank. So it takes me like 30 yards over somewhere. So now we're in like 40 foot. I'm fighting it like vertically. I'm watching it on live scope. And no joke, on live scope, there was another fish fighting for like my rock crawler, it looked like. Like fighting I saw the smallmouth come up like twice when it passed with the boat. I don't know what this other fish was. But it was a really big smallmouth. And you can pass my boat, it goes up to like 40 foot, like 30 yards away from the bank. And it looks like another fish is fighting with it for my rock crawler. I'm fighting it like this for a while. You know what I mean? Just, I'm slowly pulling it up, and they'll dig. Slowly pulling up digs. And then I got it like 5 foot away from the boat. And you can see like 15 foot. It's really clear. I got like 5 foot away from the boat, and it just screams again. And I'm over like 80 foot now. And I'm like, dude, just get in the boat. Because it's literally been like 8 minutes of me fighting this freaking fish. Like, my arm's cramping up. I finally I get like 10 foot away from the boat, and it finally shakes it. And I was like, yeah, I yelled a lot. I yelled a lot. But, not nice things either. I was very frustrated by losing my 5th fish, being like a 6-pound smallmouth. And I fought for like 8 minutes. I put a lot of work into that fish. And I don't think there's much I could do. So, yeah, that sucks. What can you do about it? So, fish out that bank, and I'm like, okay, where do I go? So I can't stay here. So I hopped to my original spot. Fish that, nothing. And then go to that spot. I got my 4th fish, which was just literally right across the river, right across the creek channel. I hook into like 4 rocks, and I fight like 4 rocks to the boat. Meaning, my boat eventually got to the rock, and I realized it was a rock. This happened like 4 casts in a row. So then, like my 5th cast turned out to be a fish. I hook into it, and I'm like, gosh darn it. So I wasn't really fighting it. I mean, I was still fighting it. I wasn't like really fighting it. And like this like 3-pounder. Keep in mind, I only have 4 fish at this point. And it's like 11:30, probably noon. Tournament ends at 3:30. Hook into it. Fighting it for like a few seconds. Jumps. The fish dives back down. I'm like, okay, time to actually start fighting this fish. About 2 cranks in, I realized it threw it. I was like, so this is tough. It's tough up here. Like, statistically, I'm doing really good. I'm getting a ton of bites. They're all, like, most of them are bigger fish, except for that one smallmouth that I have in the box that's like a pound and like a quarter. Like, I think it's tiny. And, but up here it's like, I like pride myself on not losing fish. And I was like, that's tough. That's tough, and you just gotta stay in it, especially as a solo. And there was more pressure on me for like my first college tournament ever, like to prove myself to coach and everything. And I was like, dude, you just gotta get a 5th fish. Doesn't matter how big it is, you just gotta get a 5th fish. And I'm like, so I ran down to the dam at Tobe Rock. I love clear water. I just freaking love it. I'm not saying the water on the entire lake wasn't clear. I just wanted the clearest water. So, after that, I'm like, I really didn't. So I probably could have stayed and caught more fish in that area. But yeah, I really could have caught a lot more fish in that area. But I was like, just like my mentality's sake, I was like, we're moving. Cannot stay in here. Like, we gotta go. So, I load her up, and I'm like, okay, let's just. So the tournament launched out of Kimberly. I was like, okay, let's just hit 2 spots on the way up to Kimberly, and then fish the stuff I like around Kimberly, because I fish a lot around there too. So I, rods buckled down, trolling motor buckled down, and we're gone. And I pull up on this bank that's like really freaking good, like really good, like the spot, and like 8-foot high waves, and I just couldn't fish it. So that sucks. So that was like one of the spots I was banking on. Okay, that sucks. Put her back, gone. Because if that spot was screwed, the other spot was too. Because I wanted the wind to be setting up on it, and so I run around and run up to this spot that's been in a lot of my YouTube videos in my kayak. And the week before, I had smacked him in the kayak on that, like almost same conditions. Just the week before, there was snow on the ground, and didn't get a bite. And I was like, okay, that's weird. It's really weird, actually. So my confidence is low. Last 2 spots haven't been productive. 1 spot I couldn't even fish. So I'm like, okay, let's go to this other really freaking good spot. So, make a little trip. Went around there, and I'm like, okay, here we go. time to catch fish. Got hung up like 4 times. Once was in a freaking tire, so that was really difficult to get out. And I was like, okay. And I didn't catch a fish. And I was like, okay, this really sucks. So I like sat down, like calmed down, and I was like, I called my dad, and I'm like, Dad, it's sucking out here. I only have 4 fish. Don't know what to do. I mean, because like by this time it's like 1:30. Like I haven't had a bite for like an hour and a half. I've ran the wrong way. Or I ran out of my fish. I left fish to find fish, which is never a good idea. Never do that. So, I was like, okay. And my dad was like, hey, just slow down, hit these spots. And I was like, I already hit those spots. One of those spots you said you can't even fish right now. So I moved. And he was like, okay. Didn't know you. He's like, that's really good on you, really productive. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try to figure out something, Dad. Love you. And he's like, love you too, bye. So I put the phone down. I put on some music to help me. I listen to music while I'm fishing a lot too. Like it helps me, like engage, like focus. So then I go around this corner and everything I'm fishing has wind. I want wind. Like I want the most wind I can get. And there's this little bitty pocket with 0 wind. And like I was praying to God. And something just told me, it was like, just fish this. Like I know it doesn't have wind on it, just fish it. So, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just fish it. So, crank. I'm like, I should switch rock crawlers. Swap rock crawlers. Crank. Like 14-incher. I'm like, okay, that's a fish. It's a short fish, but that's a fish. 3 more casts. 15.25. That's my limit. We're good. You know what I mean? So, that's really exciting. I have my freaking limit. And I'm like, I fished that out, call my dad. I'm like, just got my limit. I called him like 10 minutes earlier saying, I have no idea what's going on. I'm like, I fished this, this pocket. He's like, I know that pocket. I'm like, fished it. Had 0 wind on it. Caught a fish. He's like, okay, sick. So, so I put the boat in gear. Buzz around this corner. I'll do a corner with like the most wind. Like it's like a perfect staging area for like predators. 0 wind, corner, made like corner. Tons of wind funneling around this, so there should be a ton of bait right on that corner, on that point. I fish it. I see 2 fish up shallow, which is good, right? It's good. I know there's fish there. They didn't eat my rock crawler, but there was no wind on that spot, so, what can you do? I make it around. There's like a ton of these trees on this point, which I'm usually fishing my rock crawler through the trees, but the trees are so shallow, it's like really hard to fish them. So I'm like fishing my rock crawler in like 1 foot, and I want to fish it in like 3 foot. And it's stupid. So I'm like, something's just telling me, I'm like, okay, last cast. And something's like, dude, you need to make like 1 more cast directly in those trees. So I'm like, okay, last cast. Go through those trees. Like a pound, 13-ounce smallmouth. I get it in, I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I just culled after an hour and a half of no bites. This is crazy. So I put it, it's like 2 o'clock by now, right? So I cull out that largemouth I literally just got. Put that pound, 13-ounce smallmouth in there. So now my smallest is like a pound and a quarter smallmouth. Pound 13 smallmouth and like 3-4 pounders. And I'm like, okay, this is awesome. Here we go. So I see a spot literally right across the lake. I know I'm short on time, so I don't want to like run somewhere and waste a bunch of time. So I see a spot, and I'm like, that's the juice. I need to go there. So So I run over there, shut down. It's like a bluff wall, and the transitions to shelf, super shallow, and there's wind on it. So I shut it down. 4 casts. It's like one of my favorite glide bait spots too. 4 casts. Hooking like a 19-inch largemouth, right? But it only weighed a pound 14 ounces. No. So the smallmouth that I caught was a pound 11 ounces, and this thing was a pound 13. And I was like, okay. So no, no. The smallmouth I just caught was bigger. The smallmouth I had in the morning was a pound 11 ounces, right? So, I'm like, should I reweigh? Screw it, I don't have time. Throw the smallmouth back, largemouth's in the box, right? Shut the box. And then I fish this out, nothing. And I see a bank like right next to me. And it's like the best like summertime night bank, but there's not like, it doesn't make the most sense it makes some sense on some level, but it like doesn't really make any sense to fish it in the fall these conditions. But I fished it before and caught fish doing it. So I was like, okay, let's just. I don't have much time anymore. I have like 30 minutes, maybe like 45 minutes. Launch is like right over there. Let's fish this bank. Even if I don't catch fish on it. I didn't expect to catch fish on it. I thought there was like a good bet I would. So I start hitting the bank. Nothing. I think I got like one bite on it, missed him, or he missed me. And there's like literally like these like 8-foot bushes, like with leaves on them and everything, just sitting in the water. And there's like 5 bushes, and I'm like, there's got to be fish in that, right? I pick up my rock crawler, hook it out there, and I'm like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them. I haven't done it personally, but I've seen them do it. They take like a lipless crankbait down south in like the grass. I'll just rip it through the grass, right? They'll just like yank it through the grass. And I was like, I have my rock crawler out there, and I'm like, through those leaves, right? Through those bushes. I'm like, at first I tried reeling slow to get it not stuck, but it got stuck. I was like, oh crap. You know what I mean? I hooked into a big fish. And it was a 5.5 pounder. So I'm hook into her, and I'm like, oh crap, right? So I was like, ripping, and it stopped. I was like, oh, that's probably fish, and it just starts going right. And I'm like, okay, awesome. So I had to, grab that fish. Got her in. I was having like a panic attack from that fish. I was so excited. What was it? Grabbed that largemouth I just caught because it was now my smallest fish. And, chucked him. Put my big largemouth in there. And, that was about it. I think I had like 15 more minutes left in the tournament. To this one spot, backlashed my crankbait rod. Threw the glide bait around for a little bit, just trying to kill time. Or try to use all my time efficiently. Then, so I weighed in solo and got 4th out of 15. So that was a good day. First college level tourney ever. These guys have been fishing all year. I've been fishing, but I'm not, like in the paint, not competing at the high level they are. I mean, I want to, but I have rugby, right? I have prior commitments. But I mean, I'll tell you guys about this next tournament too. But my goal right now, like for the foreseeable future, till like January or February, maybe January, is just keep your nose down and be smart and catch a limit. Because I had 16 pounds, 16.7. I had 16.7, and the guys in third place had 16 like 12. and the guy in first place had 19. So that's kind of like, and guys in second place had 17 something. So I wasn't really that far off from second, right? I was like a pound off second, and it's done by weight overall. So yeah, I think after the first tournament, I had a good shot, at making it. I think we might have two more. I don't think he's put in the schedule, but hopefully we have Bull Shoals. I know I'm gonna smack on Bull Shoals. Like I knew I was going. So if I got that small amount, I would have had 20 pounds. Right, I'd have won it. I couldn't stop thinking about that. It just hurt so much. But I didn't. Right. So I knew I was gonna smack him on Table Rock. It's my home lake. I always smack him on Table Rock. But I know for a fact I'd smack him on Bull Shoals because nobody fishes Bull Shoals, and like I love Bull Shoals. So yeah, that's about that. But yeah, I'll tell you guys. Next video is probably gonna be the next tournament. So yeah, things are looking pretty up. Pretty excited. Thank you for watching. Also, like it's like 27 minutes of me just rambling on about freaking my first college tournament. So if you guys watched all this way, I honestly appreciate it because I'm just some 18-year-old kid sitting in my dorm room at like noon talking about fishing. So thank you.